All right, got something different for the channel today. We're going to see if we can pull off a miracle. Disregard the loud noise here because I have my desoldering station prepped and running over here to the right off camera. But basically, what I have here are a couple of Stern pinball machine motor control boards. And this one here is a 520-8418-00 alpha. And this is a 520-699-600 alpha. And this one I had in my spare parts stash, and I don't know where it came from or why I have it. I don't recall the circumstance how I happened upon it, but I've got it. This one came out of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a TMNT. Came out of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and there is, on that machine, there's a spinner, a pizza spinner, that spins and flings the balls all over during the multi-ball. Now, this is what controls that spinner motor. And I noticed one day that the spinner was not working anymore. So I made sure that I took the glass out, made sure the spinner is moving freely, the motor isn't seized up or anything. So I took a look at the control board, and sure enough, the IC controller is exploded. There's two giant chips out of the IC here that just kaboom, decided to exit the IC. It's a giant chunk missing there and a giant chunk missing there, and I can't really get a good angle on it. But so the IC that controls the circuit is kaput. Now, you would think that you'd just be able to swap this one in, but no, it's different. You can see that the input connector is the same. This 3-pin connector is not used, and this is the output to the motor. So we have an input and an output, but there's an extra connector on this one that this one doesn't have, so this one's not used on the TMNT. And then the actual connector for the input from the CPU that tells it what to do is different as well. There's also an IC on this one that's not on this one, so the MOSFETs are the same. But so I can't just simply swap this one in place of this one. That, coupled with the fact that this appears to be unobtainium, no one has it. Marco Specialties doesn't have it. Pinball Life doesn't have it. Little Shop of Games doesn't have it. This doesn't appear to be obtainable from anywhere. And I just don't understand. Stern makes these pinball machines. You spend $8,000 plus for these pinball machines, and a couple of months go by, and then all of a sudden something goes bad and they can't provide part support. So I know that they've got a bin of these at the warehouse or the factory. They probably have a bin of 1,000 of these sitting in a bin at the warehouse, but you can't buy them. They're using them for new machines. So none of the suppliers have them. You can't get them from Stern. The distributors can't get them. It's just a terrible situation. It's ridiculous. So anyway, that all being said, we're going to try and use this chip that's intact and swap it onto this board. Now, the worst case scenario here is if I mess this up, I'm still the same place I'm at now. The spinner doesn't work. So the magnet that holds the balls is good, but the spinner itself doesn't spin. So it doesn't work now. If I screw this up, it still won't work. I won't be in any different situation than I'm at now. So I'm going to have to remove this connector. I don't care about burning this one up. I'll probably remove it anyway. I need to remove this connector, and this capacitor, and try and use some heat to remove this chip. And then the same thing on here. I need to remove, I'll go ahead and remove this connector, and then we'll try and swap this chip over onto this one and cross our fingers and see what happens. So yeah, there's no other option. You can't just replace the board, so they don't have them. So I'm going to try and replace this chip and see if we can get this working again. So we need to, we'll start with this and see how this one goes. Let's grab the desoldering gun and see if we can remove this connector here. I need to swap out my tip because this one's not big enough. Nope, not big enough. We can get the capacitor though, maybe. That work? This board's pretty thick, so may not work exactly. Yeah, probably have to heat this up. Okay, yep, there we go. All right, I can get this one out. I should have added more solder to these to make this easier, but it's probably not going to come out very easily. Yeah, a couple of these are not clear, so let's add some more solder, which will help this thing get this stuff out of here. I think just these three, maybe. Is that going to work? That works! Look at that! Fantastic. Okay. Well, you know, I don't know if we're obviously not going to reuse this board because the control chip's going to be gone off of it. I think we'll just go ahead and just take it off the way that it is and not worry about taking this connector out. You know, I need to take it out of this one, but I need to change the tip out on the desoldering gun, so yeah, actually, you know what? Maybe not. I may be able to just use braid on this one. Yeah, it's too big for the tip. I'll just use braid on this one. So let's get this one out of here and see how well it's going to go. There it is. Well, this is going to prove very interesting. All right, we didn't really even burn anything on that, so I think what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and remove this one. And we don't got to take any connectors off. Got it. There it is. So, we've got our replacement and our burned up one. Let's take the burned up one and get it out of the way. And we'll clean up this. Go ahead and turn off the desoldering station here because we're not going to need it after all. And let's grab some braid here. Let's clean off, let's turn on my fan actually. And let's clean up all this old solder that's on here. Okay. I think that'll work. Now let's put some new stuff down. let's get rid of a little bit of this here. We don't need that much. That'll work. Okay, now let's alright, so that should be good. Now let's take our replacement chip and prep it. I don't have a microscope, so you're not going to be able to see much of what I'm doing. Sorry about that. Okay. Alright, I think that'll work, but there's something going on here. I don't know if that's just... flux or not. So we're going to clean that up with some alcohol. Yeah, that was just flux in there, okay. All right. And I think that'll work. So I'm going to take a couple of high resolution pictures just to make sure that we don't have any bridges or anything. And I can zoom in on the pictures, the easiest way to do that. So let's take a picture here and zoom in on it. And we've got some stuff going on here. You can see that if we look at the picture, right there, we've got a situation that we need to resolve. Yeah, I can't tell if it's just, I think that's just flux residue. Oh yeah, that's just flux residue. That's all it was. I just scraped around here. And if we take another picture here, yeah, that should be fine. So, yeah, all this stuff that you see here, it's all just flux residue. There's not actually a bridge or anything. So, plus when we reflow that, it'll fix itself. So like I say, a worst case scenario, it doesn't work. Alright, so if we look here, there's a little dot. I don't know if you can even see it. Disregard my... I accidentally stabbed myself one day with the screwdriver that got underneath the edge of my nail here, and it's kind of funkified this while it's healing, so sorry about that. But there's a little dot right here. You can see that little dot right there. That's the corner we want to use to line up with the board. If we look at the board, there is a little white thing right here that denotes that corner. So we want to install it like so on here. Now again, I have no idea if this will work, but we will give it a try for sure. But to make it easier on ourselves, we'll throw a whole bunch of flux on here to not only hold it in place, but ensure that we'll get a good connection. Like so. Let's make sure we're lined up. Just tap it in. Just tap it in. Alright, that's about smack dab perfect right there, I have to say. Alright, now it's time to, here we go. So much for being perfect. Of course, I expected it to move, but not that much. Alright, that should be good. No, it's not. Stay there, you rascal. Give it a few seconds here. And it's crooked. I shifted it when I pressed down on it. You son of a bee. Well, there you go. That looks pretty good. Let's get it cleaned up. Take another look at it. Okay, well, let's inspect it here. I think that's pretty good. That may just turn out to be successful. And as you can see, we've got the little dot here. That little dot is with that little white piece there, so that should be good. I think that turned out pretty well. I'm going to take a few pictures up close just to make sure we don't have any bridges and all the joints look good, but otherwise, yeah. I think what we'll do now is we'll take this and put this back in the machine and see if our spinner works. Alright, so we're here at the arcade. We got the Turtles machine here. Let's get it opened up and get that board installed and see if it works. So here we go. Let's go ahead and turn it off. Thank you, high speed. Okay, balls are out. All right, so let's get you in here. Sorry about the low lighting, but we have all the lights here are kind of like mood lighting, so stuff like that. So I can turn them back to white, but the remote control is a bit wonky right now, so if I turn them back to white, there's a good chance I may not be able to get them back to blue. So I can't even get the camera back in the tripod. All right, well, let's come in close here. And let's see if we can zoom in on this. Now that control board resides right there. You can hear Area 51 maximum force down there making noise. Sorry about that. But I just kicked the leg of the tripod too. Man, I'm batting 1,000 right now. Okay, so this is gonna have to go like so. Is it like, it's like this, okay. So. Revolution X is down there too. And I'll probably get a copyright strike because of that song, so I'm going to talk over it here as much as I can. And I'm going to talk and talk and talk because it's going to give me a copyright strike because it's done it before and I don't want it to happen again. So blah 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 blah. Come on. I don't even know if, I should go turn the darn thing off, quite honestly, but yeah, I'll go over there and turn it off once the music is done playing. Stupid game. Blah, blah, blah. Let me go turn off that Revolution X, because it'll play that song again. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, when I was doing a restoration on that machine, I got a copyright strike for that song, so I probably could have just edited out the audio, but I'm not sophisticated enough to do that. Okay, so we got power. We got the output to the motor, and we got the connector from the CPU that tells the board to operate. Well, there it is. So it's all plugged in there. So what we're going to do here is see how far we can go in, and we're going to make sure that when we turn this on, we don't get an explosion or any kind of craziness going on with that chip. So I keep kicking the leg of the tripod, sorry. Okay, so we're gonna keep an eye on that chip. We're gonna turn this on. And it takes a while for it to boot. It's going through the sequence. Any day now, machine, come on. Taking its time, taking its time. These things take forever. What is it even booting here? Yeah, it's booting, just taking forever. Okay, there it goes. And we're up and running. Nothing is blown up yet. So now what we need to do is run through the test. I'm not going to be able to do this without lowering the play field, so let's just lower the play field here. Oop, wrong way. So nothing blew up on the initial power up. Let's lower the play field and run through the motor test. Okay, diagnostics, utilities, no. Game specific tests, pizza disc. Hey, it works! Look at that, fantastic. Let's take a look here, see if we can. All right, we're gonna activate the disc right now. There it goes. Our transplantation is successful. All right, so yeah, that's clockwise, counterclockwise. Ladies and gents, we now have a 100% operational Ninja Turtles machine. So what I didn't mention was the glider. Calm down, high speed. So the glider actually completely, like the second day that we got it, the servo went out. and I had to replace the servo, and then the entire glider assembly broke off of the assembly, or the entire glider, I should say, broke off the assembly. The set screw came out and the insert came out, so I had to epoxy that back in place. And this has just kind of been a nightmare. We had bad optos and sensing problems in the hideout back there, or whatever you want to call it, pizza parlor-ish, what it is. Just kind of been an ever-ending nightmare with this machine. This post busted off, had to replace that post. The screw was loose for this plastic. The ball kept getting caught under here. Just ever since this came out of the box, I had problems with it right from the get-go. So now it appears we're good to go. So yeah, successful transplant of that processor, and everything turned out great. So all right, that's been a headache for quite a long time. Finally got that figured out, and otherwise, yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, this is our pinball row. We got Star Trek and Batman and Mandalorian, Stranger Things, Turtles, Guardians, Metallica, Ghostbusters, Monster Bash, Addams Family, Roadshow, Bride of Pinball, Hurricane, High Speed, and I got 9-ball down here that's giving me problems. It doesn't want to boot. When it does boot, the coils don't work. When the coils work, I can't get the switches to work. It just kind of has grenaded itself. I'm trying to figure that out, but haven't got around to it yet. And you know, all this stuff is turned off because we're not open right now, but I've got walkthrough videos and stuff like that. So anyway, yeah, we are good to go on the Turtles machine now, so feels good to be able to get that changed out, and otherwise I appreciate it. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Well, my jubilation is short-lived because as soon as I closed up the machine and fired up a game and got all 3 balls locked in the pizza parlor and started the multi-ball, the balls came out, locked on the pizza magnet, and the spinner did not spin. So I checked it out again, and it is got a big hole in it already. So, yep, this lasted about 1 minute, and I don't know how it happened, what's causing it. You saw the motor worked. The motor works fine. So it's not an issue with the motor. I think there's something with the control, the input control or the power control. I checked all the MOSFETs off camera. The MOSFETs are all okay, so it's not a problem of a shorted MOSFET or something. And if it was, it wouldn't have operated, or it would have blown as soon as it got power. So it's not a shorted MOSFET. Something either on the input side or the output side is destroying this chip. So now I'm back to where I was before. So, I mean, transplanting the chip fixed it. It worked. But there's some other outside influence on this that's shorting those chips out, and I am not going to really worry about trying to figure it out because it's just going to go down a rabbit hole. It's not a key function of the game to have that spinner working, so we're just not going to worry about it. But that's a bummer. I was super excited to have that fixed, and then, you know, as soon as I turned the camera off and started a game, it didn't work. Checked it out, and it's fried again. So, oh well, I mean, I had a successful transplant, but something else is wrong, and just going to have to live with it not working. Oh well.